how technology can enable the human element in shipping. Its next presentation, Mr. Yannis Pastellas is an area business development manager of Ocean Technologies Group. Yes, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will borrow the quote from Mr. Haralambous that said, "We are as good as our people on board are." And we want to show some tools that will help us be closer in how we treat the e-learning and training for our seafarers. So Ocean is more or less focused on the learning options and solutions, fleet software as a service, and crew software as a service. We've seen many presentations today how digitalization can help us improve and tackle many challenges. Either that will be the decarbonization or any other future regulations that are coming to the shipping industry, and how we can help with automation and digitalized solutions to tackle these options. So what a year that was, that COVID hit the market, hit the world, and a disruption to all industries, and especially also in shipping. So we can see here in the same training seafarers that we have in our database, how much it was spiked since COVID hit the market. Especially the STCW training titles that helped the customers that they were prepared and they had an e-learning or an online strategy for learning, how they tackled the seafarers for being compliant, because they couldn't either move from the ship, travel somewhere to a training center. Many of the flag states stated that extended all the certifications to help that as well. But just remember, it's not the richest or the most powerful or the most smartest company that survives, but the one that is more agile. So we've seen some of these titles that had the spike during the pandemic. And of course, getting a training approved by a flag state before was very difficult, and you need too much effort and too much process to get it approved. After the pandemic and the proof that the e-learning helped shipping be compliant and running, we see flag states and other organizations being more easy to approve or endorse any training for, especially for safety on board. And the trend we see is still going upwards. I don't know if any of you were at this week or Cyprus strategy for 2030. They also applying digitalization and said that they are going to the e-learning, because we don't have any regulation on the flag state of Cyprus to approve or accept any learning. So one other challenge was how do we communicate with the people? One basic tool that everybody used was starting using Skype, Teams, Zoom, and try to transfer the classroom training in an online training, which is not always the same and not always easy to sit in front of a screen for 8 hours and trying to focus on the instructor. But these was the tools the collaboration tools that they were used and still being used for many companies. What we experience is a different perspective. So we try to see a better solution or an optimal solution. So we have the collaboration tool in the middle, and we developed the pre-event tool that you can send all the e-learning or the curriculum the participants have to go through, so they can read in their own pace, You can have then the event, the training event, short in hours, and then the post-event with the assessments, after the classroom discussion, etc., and get a grade in the end. So this minimized the hours in front of the screen. Another tool that we found very useful is, well, let's take it a bit historically. It was a shipping company and manning agencies. The onboard training, it first started with VHS tapes, then it went to DVDs, now it's with the onboard boxes. And on the other side, the training centers with the on-premises simulators that we all the seafarers have to go through, officers, etc. So Ocean now moved to a cloud, and many companies moved to a cloud setup, so it's available online anywhere. So with that solution, Wärtsilä had created the cloud simulation tools as well. So we connected these two solutions into one, together with the training centers, and now the seafarer, anytime, anywhere, can get a training based on a cloud simulator from his laptop anywhere in the world. So we can more or less limit the need of travel to a simulator, although we don't say you don't have to use a simulator, but it has some other uses as well. So we invite the industry stakeholders from manufacturers, from, for example, ballast water treatment, manufacturers, any type-specific trainings, to get into this platform and then have this cloud simulation through the platform. We had a customer 4 months ago that we presented this solution and said, wow, this is great, but you know, we have invested 4 million to build our own training center, and it's great and it's amazing. And say, yeah, of course, this is only normal to invest in your training. And then they had an incident. So they called back and said, how can we initialize this? How can we do it? They had an accident in congested waters, and they needed to train the people embarking on this specific training. So it was very easy to just give access to the specific training, because they couldn't just move all the people to the training center at once, and it was an imminent action from their side that they needed to do this kind of training. So if we look at our database of seafarers, we see the demographics, 53% is Generation Y. So there are people that are much more tuned in technology, but we still have the previous generation, which are not. So how do we see the seafarer of tomorrow? And what are the competencies that the seafarer must have? More or less, these are the competencies that everybody wants a seafarer to have. And the question is, do we buy or build them? Are we building the culture and the tools for the next generation of seafarers? And a part of the process of acquiring new talent is recruitment. Another disruption within the maritime industry was the face-to-face meetings, the face-to-face interviews. They couldn't travel to manning agencies or in a training center, and they relied to evaluate candidates in putting very much pressure on everyone involved. So we partnered with a company to create an AI proctoring solution that this will raise some flags during the interview or during the assessment to identify if somebody is trying to cheat. But it only raises some flags, and then somebody has to go through the process. During this period as well, we've seen many companies try to create their own trainings. So we created Durability Learning, which is an authoring tool that can be used in many, many different ways. So we give the opportunity to the customer to create either training titles of their own, to help them of the pre-embarkation training of the seafarers, either with familiarization or company SM trainings before going on board, and have a specific matrix to address this issue. So how we see the whole system as a connected maritime platform. So we have the learning, the competency management. We have, of course, whatever was before in the training world, and now we connected the simulator together with the assessments, virtual classroom, and we can get all this data to help customers for crew assessment, any performance analytics, and give back to reporting to the managers and to the ship owners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yannis.